Ever felt overwhelmed trying to manage your computer's performance or troubleshoot system issues? What if I told you there's a way to automate tasks, fix errors, and optimize your system like a pro without spending hours figuring it out? In this video, you'll discover how to master Windows system tools, from scheduling tasks to diagnosing problems with Event Viewer. Imagine never worrying about forgotten shutdowns or system crashes again. Ready to transform how you manage your computer? Let's dive in. Welcome to this new course, where we're going to talk about system tools, which are found in Windows Operating System Computer Management. Start by opening the Computer's Management menu, which offers a whole bunch of services. To access it, simply search for the word Management and click on Computer Management. Computer Management gives us access to 3 administrative tools: System Tools, Storage, and Services and Applications. System Tools. If you scroll down the System Tools menu, you can see everything behind it. Task Scheduler. And let's start with the Task Scheduler, which, as its name suggests, allows you to schedule recurring tasks automatically, so you don't have to do it yourself. When I told you that the main skill of a computer scientist is to be a great lazy person, remember, in a previous course, we created a shortcut on the Windows desktop of the Formip VM to start a PC shutdown after 2 minutes. Well, we're going to turn this shortcut into a batch file. So what is a batch? Well, it's a command interpreter. This allows you to execute a whole series of commands. That is to say, you can launch a whole batch of orders from a simple text file. What we're going to do before we schedule a task is we're going to turn our shutdown shortcut into a text file with the extension .bat. Before starting, to make it more readable, we will display the extensions of our files. To do this, open a File Explorer and in the View tab, click on File Name Extensions. Now we're going to start by creating a notepad and enter inside the command that allows us to turn off the PC automatically after 2 minutes, leaving us a little message to warn us. Then, simply change its extension from .txt to .bat. So don't worry if we don't go into detail about the command file in .bat, because we'll have a whole chapter dedicated to scripting. Now, we're ready to schedule the launch of this command automatically in the evening, in case we forget to turn off our virtual machine. Creating a scheduled task is not very complicated because we have a wizard that allows us to guide us step by step. So we start by clicking on Create a Basic Task. Then you have to give it a little name, and the ideal is even to add a description to do things properly. After that, you choose when you want this task to start. We decide when we want to start this planning. Then, for our example, what we want is to start a program. The next step is the moment when you have to go and get the script, which you create in .bat on the desktop. Then, all that's left to do is click on Finish. Your first task is successfully created and is now part of the Task Scheduler library. If you want to check that your script is working well, you can right-click on the task you just created and click Run. If everything is good, the VM will inform you of the PC shutdown within 2 minutes. Remember that if you want to undo this shutdown, simply run a shutdown/a Event Viewer. Now, let's move on to the Event Viewer, which is the place where everything that happens on the PC is recorded. That is, it is the place where all system events are recorded. This greatly helps support technicians in their troubleshooting sessions, because it allows you to find the source of a problem. By going to Windows Logs, you will be able to see all the system logs. For example, if I go to the System log, I can find the log that was created when I manually started the shutdown task. And just above We even find the log, where I canceled the shutdown with a shutdown/A. The Event Viewer is a wonderful tool that allows you to have all the information on possible malfunctions of your Windows or any installed application. Shared folders. Now let's move on to the shared folders, which is the place where you can manage all the folders or drives that would have been shared. If you remember, we had created a share of the hard disk that we had partitioned on the first VM so that we could access it from the second VM. Well, as you can see, you can find this sharing by going to the sessions of the shared folder. Local users and groups. We will now move on to local users and groups, which is the place where we can manage the users of the system. For example, if you go to the users folder, you can see my user formip, which is the account with which I am opening my Windows session. We will now see how to create a new user. To do this, you have to right-click on the user folder and click on New User. Then, you just have to choose a username coupled with a password and click on Create. We find ourselves with our new user, who has the login Thomas. Now, if we close the session by doing a Control-Alt-Delete, well, we can log in with this new user. So as it's a VM, you can't do a Control-Alt-Delete directly from your keyboard, because otherwise, well, you'll do it on your own PC. To do this on a VM, simply go to Enter, then Keyboard, and select the Control-Alt-Delete. If you change users, you can see that you now have the choice between Formip or Thomas Shelby. Performance. Let's now quickly move on to the Performance tab, which allows you to collect data on the performance of the PC, real-time, or store in a log file, Device Manager. And finally, the Device Manager allows you to manage all the devices on the machine, such as the graphics card, the sound card, USB ports, etc. This is where we can see if a component is not up to date. That is, if it needs to update its drivers to work properly. Drivers are software that allows compatibility between the operating system and the hardware. In fact, it allows Windows to know how to manage the hardware in an optimal way. For example, here, we can see that there is an incompatibility with a device. When we see this kind of warning, what we can do is right-click on the device in question and click on Update Driver. Then, we should launch an automatic search for drivers. And if it doesn't solve anything, well, it would be interesting to check that the system is up to date with Windows Update.